Hello viewers, my name is John Michael Kiboi from St. Paul's University, Limuru, Kenya. Dealing with the question of how do I read Genesis 1 to 3 in the age of science and reason, from dogmatics to dialectics as integrative hermeneutics. The interpretation of Genesis 1 to 3 has traditionally relied on literal and dogmatic readings that treat the six-day creation as historical fact. This approach creates an epistemological conflict with modern science. While these interpretations claim the universe and life were created by divine fire in 6 24-hour days, roughly 6,000 years ago, scientific discoveries tell a vastly different story. The conflict manifests in the following ways. 1. The age of the universe and Earth. Literalist interpretations posit a young Earth and universe. However, radiometric dating and cosmology establish the Earth's age at approximately 4.5 billion years and the universe at 13.8 billion years. This discrepancy directly challenges the six-day creation timeline. 2. Evolution of life. Genesis describes the creation of distinct species, including humanity, as separate and complete acts. In contrast, evolutionary biology, supported by fossil records and genetic evidence, demonstrates that life forms, including humans, evolved gradually over billions of years. The idea of common ancestry starkly contrasts with the biblical account. Third is the role of Adam and Eve. Traditional readings of Genesis view Adam and Eve as the first human pair whose actions introduced sin into the world. Scientific evidence, however, points to the evolution of humans from a population of thousands rather than a single ancestral couple, raising questions about the historicity of the biblical narrative and its theological implications, such as original sin. These areas of tension not only diminish theology's credibility in scientific discussions, but also hinder its ability to engage meaningfully with contemporary audiences. There have been attempts to resolve this tension. In the effort to address the conflict, theologians have proposed various interpretive approaches, but I will only mention 3. 1 is framework hypothesis, which views Genesis as a literal framework rather than a literal chronological account. 2. Theistic evolution suggests that God used evolutionary processes to achieve divine purposes in creation. And thirdly, the process theology, which emphasizes an ongoing interaction between God and creation in an evolving universe. The critics of these attempts point out that while innovative, these approaches often fail to fully reconcile the tension. 1. Framework hypothesis and day-age theory have been criticized that they inadequately address the depth of scientific discoveries and remain tied to pre-scientific worldviews. Second, the theistic evolution has been criticized for separating theological and scientific claims too rigidly, missing opportunities for meaningful dialogue. And thirdly, process theology has been criticized for prioritizing scientific perspective, sometimes at the expense of theological distinctiveness. So these limitations highlight the need for a more comprehensive methodology that facilitates dialogue between faith and science. For this reason, I'm proposing dialectical hermeneutics, which advocates a modified Hegelian dialectical approach to harmonize theological and scientific perspectives. This method involves 3 key stages with an additional intermediate step. One is the thesis. The theological claims of Genesis, such as divine creation and order, serve as the starting point. The antithesis is the scientific discoveries, including the Big Bang and evolutionary biology, present an empirical counterpoint. 3. Dialogue and tension. Engaging these perspectives in constructive dialogue allows for a deeper understanding of their symbolic, theological, and scientific dimensions. And 4th, synthesis. The final stage develops an integrative interpretation that respects both theological integrity and scientific findings. This approach reframes Genesis as a theological narrative conveying truths about divine purpose, human identity, and moral responsibility. It embraces science's ability to explain the mechanisms of creation while allowing theology to address the existential questions of why and purpose. In conclusion, I state that a dialectical hermeneutic fosters robust dialogue between theology and science, enabling a nuanced reading of Genesis 1 to 3. This method moves beyond dogmatic literalism to integrate theological depth with empirical insights, preserving the relevance of Genesis in both spiritual and intellectual contexts. By embracing this approach, theology can engage meaningfully with the modern world while maintaining its foundational truth.